Apurva and I lead content in Chai. I welcome you to the first episode of Welcome LGBTQ Plus at Work campaign. In this series, we'll explore the importance of creating inclusive workplaces where everyone, regardless of their sexual orientation or gender identity, feels valued and supported. In today's episode, we are delighted to have Nikita Panchal on board, a global leader with over 20 years of experience in human resources. She currently works as Vice President, Global Talent Head with ACG World, and oversees organizational development and DEI initiatives. Her insights will be invaluable as we discuss how to foster an inclusive culture that benefits both employees and businesses alike. Welcome, Nikita.
Thanks, Apurva. Glad to be here.
I would like to first ask you, what specific strategies or initiatives has your organization implemented to create a more inclusive environment for LGBTQ plus employees?
So for us, our DEI wing is called Spectrum, and Spectrum, as the name suggests, reflects or represents that is space for everyone. And the first step to that is to create an organization which has that awareness, where everybody feels represented, everybody has a sense of inclusion, and also a moment of respect in working with the organization. So a large part of our work is in the area of women and also generation. We're also taking smaller steps in looking at focusing in the area of LGBTQ, and most of it is first building awareness, helping people know what does it stand for, what does it mean, what does it take from me to be a part of either an ally, a supporter, or even feel comfortable to share my own identity, and how do I create an organization which has a psychological safety to be able to take this as a part of the cultural agenda.
While I appreciate that you've started taking steps, so in your experience, what are the some of the common challenges that you have, or misconceptions that organizations face when striving to foster an inclusive work culture for LGBTQ plus employees?
Yeah, I think the first myth that an organization has is that I need to be fully ready in order to begin work in this area. Or the second myth is that I will only do work in LGBTQ if I have the representation of that community in the organization. So I first need to know as an organization how many people belong to this community, and then after I know that data, then I will begin work in this space. But which I feel is pretty questionable a belief, because if you are able to first create an ecosystem where people feel that it is safe enough for me to hold my individuality, hold my identity, irrespective of who I am and what I associate myself with, I feel that will bring in a little more openness, a little more comfort, a little more empathy, both for the person to share their sexual identity, and secondly for people around them to be able to embrace, accept, be allies, be supporters, and sometimes just be friends and co-workers together. So our entire effort is in normalizing this entire aspect so that you are able to bring in better dialogues.
You did mention that you want to create a safe space for these people. So how do you ensure that these voices are heard when you are doing some decision making in your organization?
So one of the projects that we worked on a couple of years back was diversity of thought. And what happens typically is that most of the organizational decision making happens by very few selected privileged people in the organization. People who are in the inner circle, people who have the voice, people who are counted, which actually marginalizes many voices and also does not represent all sections of the organization. When we did this project, we also realized that certain identity groups get naturally included in such spaces, and certain identity groups get naturally excluded. And it also creates the inclusion and the exclusion divide. So there are some people who are insiders of the organization, and there are some people who always remain the outsiders. So we're doing a lot of work towards understanding what is my responsibility if I'm an insider, how do I bring the outsiders in? Yeah. And if I'm an outsider, how do I find my voice? and how do I look at creating space for my word to be counted. So there's a lot of dialogue that we do. There are conversation circles that are happening, and there's a lot of awareness around boundaries, consent. What do I do when my biases play out? How do I handle stereotypes? And how do I become a good ally? So these are the spaces that we are creating, which helps people to express their thoughts and which helps people to embrace the diversity that is there in the room.
Nikita, you have a wealth of experience. It's around, over 2 decades. So, in your experience, and what would, a sort of an advice that you would want to give to the organizations and HR professionals who want to create a safe space and inclusive space, especially for LGBTQ plus employees?
I would say begin where there is readiness. There is that ready energy for openness. There's an energy for beginning where there is a life force is important, because most of the time people are not open to these dialogues. People want to perhaps speak on this only when nothing else is remaining in the DEI space.
Yeah.
And there is a certain sense of reservation. So I would suggest that even if you have to begin small, even if it were just to mean dialogues, or even if it were just to mean to get few people together and talk about what inhibits them, if it were to be just creating small changes in policies, creating some ways of reducing the barriers at the time of recruitment, looking at bringing in some more positive reinforcement in the way we look at getting inclusions. Those steps in itself are good motives for larger work to happen. And do not wait for that one big transformative project. Just do small steps. It gets to the final destination soon.
Do you think the change has begun finally? Like, there's more acceptance, organizations are okay, hiring LGBTQ plus employees. Do you think there's a change that has started?
Yeah, so in our organization, we do have representations of different backgrounds, and we do realize that the basic criteria for recruitment is the fitment to the role.
Yeah.
And do I have the necessary competence that could help me perform the role well? And that's the bedrock. Anything that is layered beyond that, whether it's my gender, my nationality, my caste, my sexual orientation, all of that are layers of biases which sometimes need to be filtered out in the hiring process. And if you're working through your hiring process and trying to reduce those barriers and trying to ensure that every person has a seat on the table when it comes to an interview, when it comes to a selection, I think that is when you will have better representation in the organization thereafter. Sometimes our hiring process in itself is not enabling every person to have access. So we've tried to work through measures like we have a diverse interview panel who's interviewing people. We have a process where we call out some of these biases. We're also training all our people managers on biases and stereotypes that happen during a recruitment process. And it's a mandatory program that people have to go through if they're interviewing. So I think some of those initiatives have just broadened the mindset to also look at, what is it that I'm avoiding? And if I'm avoiding that, can I see it? And can there be another peer or a friend or a co-worker who could help me call that out in moments when it is out there being playing out in several meetings, in a collective setting? Sometimes it could just be a joke at the corridor. And is there somebody who's like my ally who can tap on my shoulder and say, hey, this could be done differently, And those are the moments that we're trying to create in the organization.
Nikita, I really, really appreciate the fact that you somewhere mentioned that, you're training people managers to, eradicate these biasness, and how, being an ally is really important. So hats off to you. And thank you so much. It means a lot that you accepted this invitation. And it was an insightful discussion. And I hope more people come out and more people like yourself, start, taking these initiatives to, make things better for LGBTQ plus employees.
Yeah, one of the statement, I would say one of the intent that ACG as an organization stands for. We always say that ACG World wants to make things better. And when we say that we want to make it better, we want to make it better for everyone, for all our associates, for our customers, partners, vendors, suppliers. So the intent is also reflected through the DEI space, that how could I make it better for each and every uniquely diverse person in the organization. And it's nice to know that you also concluded your statement with the same intent. Yeah.
So, I want to end with a very strong line. Let your voice lead the way for better inclusive future.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing that.
I really, really hope that your voice reaches out to a lot more HRs, lot more, organizations. Thank you so much again.
Thanks so much, Apurva. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.